Let me show you the pens and pencils I used to make my very first comic. This is the printed out, pasted version before my printed ones get here. This is without any coloring removed and just down to black, white, and some shading. And I pasted this up because there was no two-sided printing at my library. So I want to show you what I used to make this, all of the supplies that I loved and used most often. I kept them in this cigar box. I love cigar boxes. You can see I wrote comic supplies. So what's inside here? Let's do this. We'll take everything out and start with this. These are paper clips, 2 paper clips. All that is to attach them to the Bristol board to this backing board because I needed to keep it stable and hold it so paper clips. I have a lettering guide. This is an Ames lettering guide set to 3.5 down here. And this is used to make straight lines. Let me see if I can grab a few things. I can show you. So what this is doing, I use this to work on my lettering, which if you saw my other video, you'll know I actually gave that up and digitally lettered it. But at first, you can see those are my lettering markers. That's a lettering guide. What else? Let's start with pencils. I have these red pencils. These are Col-Erase Carmine Red. I love these pencils, but I didn't use them too much on the actual comic because I thought I was going to have it be done by hand and I was going to paint it as well and didn't want the red showing up. I do love it. I do think it looks beautiful, and it really could give a nice, I think, skin tone, less undertone for a lot of colors, but I didn't end up using them. So these are the ones I love to sketch with. I love to do my underdrawings with. These are Col-Erase Carmine Red pencils. I just got this holder from Derwent, and I really, really like it. Just because this gets a little small, and I sort of want to keep it going for a long time. So I love those pencils. What other pencils do I have? I have mechanical pencils. Talked about these in another video. Non-mechanical, I have Blackwings. This is the Blackwing 602 and the matte. I love these a lot. And maybe because they are talked about so highly and it's a placebo effect, but I still think they're nice. And this matte one gets very dark, which I like a lot. And then the 602 can be pretty dark as well. So these are the only other analog pencils I use. I have my Papermate Sharpwriter. This is the new one. If you notice, it's pretty yellow. The other one was kind of orangey. And it just is one of my favorite mechanical pencils. I just think it is such a good all-around pencil. I know people didn't like the change. They felt like it was something went wrong. But I don't hate it. I think the new ones are still pretty good. This is the thing that's broken off, but this is a Bic 09 0.9 mechanical pencil. This is a Pentel 0.5, and this is a Zebra 0.5. These were what I used primarily with the lettering guide to fit in the small holes. Those are my pencils that I love. Whichever one makes me feel most inspired in the moment is what gets used. Love those pencils. Let's talk about pens, or I had some brushes that I used when I was painting it. I've been using these water brushes without water inside lately. I like it. And this is a brush I got at Home Depot. I like this little edge right here. Once again, started coloring it digitally so that way I do not have paint on most of the pages. This is a eraser. I use this plus a kneaded eraser that is not around here. And this was to save me from all of my fatal mistakes. And I just think these are invaluable. White things, I have, this is a white acrylic painter, and this is a white gel pen. This is a Signo Uniball gel pen, and this is a white paint marker. So these are different substances. Let me show you something. I'll come back and use the white when I use some of the black ones, but these were used for kind of fixes if I wanted them fixed on the paper and not digitally the next round. This is the black version of the acrylic marker, and you can see this one is a nice bold line. And I just didn't want to use like a Sharpie. This kind of took the place of a Sharpie. I love Sharpies, but I did not want to have that alcohol in there. You pump it up and you get some pretty good ones. This one is dying from being used. That's another acrylic painter from Amazon. They don't have a logo on here. They just say acrylic painter. Let's talk about pens now. The ones I used most, the ones that were my drivers for almost everything I did that wasn't line work, are these Pigma Sakura 3-pack of brush markers. So you have FB, which is the finest, MB, which is the medium, and B. I don't know if this stands for fine brush, medium brush. I think this is big brush when I think about it, but these would just be in there, and I need to grab them. The thing that I added to them was with the white paint marker was down here. So I do one line for the smallest two and then 3 for the biggest. And this was probably the best thing I did the entire time because it's just a lot of work to figure out, well, which one I want and where it is in my big box of things. So you can see this big one is a huge coverage, but also you can get pretty good detail. You can do both. That is the BB, the biggest one, or my 3 lines. The medium one still can get pretty big and still. I actually can't get this one as fine. Let me show you the difference in the brushes. So the big one has this big soft one, and the medium has this like point. And the soft one has a lot more action. It gives a lot more than the medium does. And I think the medium might be my least preferred one, just because the it just has the least amount of what you can do with it. And I don't know, it's like the opposite of Goldilocks. I don't like where it sits neither hot nor cold. But the big one, I think, if I can be really delicate, I can get some nice lines that I like. And then the small one, obviously, is great. I didn't give myself permission to use the small one as much because I always feel so guilty using small brushes instead of learning to master brushes by hand. But yeah, this one, the FB, is great. I wish they had these all over. Yes, same Sakura, you have microns. So Pigma, Sakura, microns. I have 3 different sizes. I really only used 2 of these. The most important was probably the 05. Probably this one is 0.45 millimeters. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, 0.45 millimeters. And this was my driver for lettering. You can get some variation with a little bit of pressure, but really for the details, I think this one is the best, and it's kind of a nice little medium size. This is the smallest I kind of want to go on the paper. Well, I used this. This is my Pigma Graphic 1, and this is sort of a brush tip, not brush tip, but kind of a bullet nib. I always compare it to the Flair pen. If you know Flair pens, I love Flair pens. And this was equivalent, I think, to about a Flair pen, but it has the ink that you can watercolor over, you can do stuff with. And I just really loved this one. This is what I did all of my outlining in. So I had my panels. I could set them up with this. I just thought it was a nice thickness. I like how that looked over doing it with the 05. And you can see when these are in the box together, it's not super easy to tell which one's which. So I made a white mark on the cap and on the bottom so I could see them and very quickly grab the one I needed at the time. I'm very high on customization. I had these two other Pigmas that I didn't really use. I just got this one. This is a chisel tip. This is a chisel tip. I'm not sure. I didn't really use this one, but I really like it. I'm definitely going to use it more. And I love how it's almost like a brush pen. And then this is a plastic nib. I think this is very similar to the very fine, which one? This one? But it's even smaller. This is the smallest brush pen I have for sure. And I like it. I think this could also be used for lettering and give it a little more life. But this PN plastic nib, I've really come to enjoy this one. Will make another appearance for sure in the next comic. 3 more brush pens that I really didn't use too much. I love these Tombow ones. This is the soft Tombow. And you can see it has really small lines. It has really big lines it can make. But I just think it is such a perfect little medium brush. And whatever you want it to be, it can pretty much do. I don't really love lettering with it, but I think it could have its place doing that. Yeah, I think if I had one brush pen I had to use, only it'd be this one. This one gives me the most flex and give and the lines I like to work with. The one that I want to use the most, the one I want to be my daily driver, but it's just so hard, is this pocket brush pen by Pentel. And it is a real brush. It has bristles. It has cartridges you can load. I know people have put ink in them. You can see this cartridge is over. But this one is just so temperamental. It feels like I'm working with another person because it's going to have good days and it's going to have bad days. And it's going to respond to whatever I do. And sometimes it'll just load out all of its ink all at once. And sometimes it'll give you the most beautiful line, the smallest line. And sometimes it's just going to be really hard to work with and you'll have to play with it. But I think this, if I could ever master one art, it would be the pocket brush pen, just because I know sometimes it can do almost everything these can do aside from lettering. The pocket brush pen. And this one, I just didn't really get a lot of play. This is very similar to the pocket brush pen, but it's kind of a much smaller tip. And so this small tip makes it just a little easier than the pocket brush pen. And it doesn't spill as much, and it just kind of is a lot easier to use than some of those other things. You can see it can act a lot like a brush in the way if I do a big streak, it can do that. Or it could do a very fine little line. And so, yeah, I don't know why this one didn't get a lot of play. I think I tried to stick with what I was comfortable with. But these are my tools that I used for this comic. And I know that's going to change for every subsequent comic I make, just because I will grow as an artist and I will find different things I like. But I really enjoyed using these. These are all pretty much waterproof because I was planning on using watercolors on top of it. I have plenty of things I could show you that I didn't use because they're not waterproof that I love as well. I love this Pentel Stylo. I love this Hi-Tech C. And so these are the ones that made it this time. And if you are interested in any of them, I would highly recommend them all. I think they are essentials that I couldn't have made my comic without. Here's, once again, the black and white zine version, as I'm calling it, 8.5 by 11 cut in half. Hopefully this inspires you to make some comics. Hopefully it inspires you to go out there try some pens, make marks on paper, and enjoy it.